Not everybody's day goes according to plan. A lot of people, when their day falls apart, go online and share what's happened. I share their stories with you. Epic fails on Rock 107.
Have you heard about the lonesome loser? He's a loser, but he still keeps on trying.
I was babysitting my friend's 2-year-old daughter. Within 15 minutes, she had crawled out of her crib, taken off her diaper, smushed her poop in between the cracks in the floor. So I put her in the tub, left to get a towel, came back, and she was pooping in the tub.
He's a big baby loser.
My wife's ex-boyfriend sent me a message with a screenshot of her trying to get in touch with him.
Am I a loser?
I had to explain to my mother that she needed to buy a new mattress, telling her we could hear the springs rattling every time she had sex with my dad. She then went on to explain that that's why they have sex on my bed when I'm not home.
Sorry, you're such a loser.
Their lack of success makes us feel better about our lives. Epic fails on Rock 107. My boyfriend took our dog to the vet because he heard him whining in pain this morning. It was actually me singing in the shower.
Are you a big loser? Yes, you are. You are a loser.
I'm 16. My sister is 13. Our little brother is 9. Our parents just told us their plans to start a family vlog on YouTube because it's made people rich. Don't you want to be rich? I said I didn't want to be a part of such humiliating experiences. They started filming me as our first family argument video. My wife, who's been a stay-at-home mom since our kids were born, hasn't really been out looking for a day job since they're old enough to be in school full-time now. She's, however, been day drinking and hooking up with the neighbor's wife. She insists she's not gay, she's just experimenting.
I'm a loser.
Their defeat is our victory. Epic fails on Rock 107. I got turned down from a job I really wanted. 6 hours later, the guy called me again and delivered the same news, not realizing he had already called this morning. Thanks for rubbing it in.
Loser.
My colleagues and I found out that our boss has been taking business advice from an astrologer as well as a fortune teller.
Loser.
Someone had been stealing my brownie at work every day, so I sprinkled Dulcolax on one and waited to find out who the culprit was. Turns out it was my manager. Needless to say, I'm fired.
Breaking the news that's already broken. It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Bed Bath & Beyond is cutting 20% of its workforce, but don't worry, none of those workers are the ones in charge of flooding your mailbox with 5,000 coupons a day. Now that the kids are back in school, I start to remember this time of year from my youth. When I was a kid, this was the time of year when I would go from stinking at baseball to stinking at football. Top Gun Maverick is now the most downloaded title in U.S. history, probably because Kim's sex tape didn't have a title.
Making sure breaking news stays broken. Tune in Monday for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Prospector, and people are responding to a Twitter hashtag with stories of what they did or didn't do to get fired, and it's hilarious and a little sad. Like for me, it was time for Scranton's first ever Santa Parade, and I was the promotions director here at Rock 107 at the time, and I was bragging to my coworkers about my plan. I was going to hit the bars, booze it up, stay up, do the parade, then go home and get some sleep. Well, I did the first two, but then I passed out, and when I woke up, it was right as the Rock 107 band was going by on TV in the parade, and then I was fired. I want your stories. Tell me, and then I was fired stories. Jason on Facebook.com/Angry Prospector says I was 16. First job ever. I had to look out for patron safety, and a group of teens were horsing around and breaking the rules. So I went to the teens and I said, hey, you can't do that. And I was a little mean about it, I guess. One of their moms was the operations manager. So I got a write-up for not being nice, and I got a personal talking to by one of the teens' moms, that was our operations manager, and that it was okay for them to do what they were doing, and that was that. About a week later, they were doing the same thing, and one of them got hurt. Then I got reamed out by my boss and fired for not doing my job. When I brought it up to the ops manager, she denied it all, and then I was fired. How about you? What's your and then I was fired story, Rock 107?
All right, I worked at this hoagie shop in Scranton that used to be on Kaiser Avenue. They were a cheesesteak operation.
Okay.
And I was 17, and I was the night crew leader, which was kind of weird, but there was no adults working there at the time. I had a girl, I tell her go out and wash the storefront windows. I turn around after mopping the floor in the back, and you can't see out the windows. So she I said, "What do you use on the windows?" And she cleaned the windows with grill cleaner instead of Windex and melted like the franchise stickers off the window, and they smeared all over. And then I was fired.
And then I was fired. Clay said, about 11 years ago, I was employed at Amazon in Hazleton, and one day I was coming off of lunch, and there was a coworker who was a huge flirt. She was friendly with all of her fellow coworkers, myself included. I walked up to her, and I smacked her on the butt with my picking gloves. She laughed about it, but someone else ratted me out to HR, and then I was fired. How about you? And then I was fired, Rock 107.
Okay, I'm like 17 years old. I'm working at a local ski resort. One of the perks of the job was a free lift ticket whenever we wanted to ski.
Sure.
So I'm out one night, and I have a Boda bag full of Burgundy on me that I acquired. I wipe out right next to the chairlift. Cap comes off the bottle. Big red stain on the snow around me. I'm laughing, hysterically bouncing. 2 ski patrol guys on the chairlift think I'm bleeding and having a seizure, so they call a medical alert. Next thing I know, I got like 10 ski patrol guys surrounding me. They see my lift ticket that says employee, and then I was fired.
That'll do it. And then I was fired.
Dashboard. Complaints should be addressed to Loudmouth Yambag at rock107.com.
Hey, I'm Rock 107's Prospector, and here's what's got me jacked. Well, they're at it again. TV meteorologists are doing something that infuriates me again. And keep in mind, my younger brother, Scott, is a TV meteorologist. He works in upstate New York in Rochester. So I'm very forgiving of what weathermen and weatherwomen go through. But this still galls me. WNEP morning weather guy Joe Snedeker spent last week talking about the end of summer. Yeah, he kept saying, summer's almost over, summer ends this week, summer over, blah, blah, blah. Summer ends September 21st. That is when summer is over. Now, if you're a kid heading back to school, I get it. Summer vacation's over, so summer's over. Fine. But most of us have to trudge off to crappy jobs every day. We get a week, maybe 2 in the summer to ourselves. The rest of the time we're working for the man, so it's not like we're all collectively heading back to work and feel like summer's over. Summer's over! Summer's over September 21st. That's when it ends, not Labor Day, not when your stupid sex trophies go back to school. September 21st. Now, I know what Joe's really talking about when he says summer is over. And maybe you're already yelling at the radio about it too. Joe means meteorological summer's over, Prospector. Yeah, meteorological summer ended August 31st. But I ask you, who gives a rat's backside about meteorological summer? It's not even like meteorologists created it to accurately reflect weather patterns to the seasons. No. It was created by government policy wonks so they can more easily fit data into even time frames. It's database BS. So we got to spend a week or two every 3 months listening to these yambags blather on about meteorological summer or spring or winter like it means something climate-wise. It doesn't. So it doesn't matter that your mattress puppies are back to class. It doesn't matter that La Festa's over. It doesn't matter we're in September. Summer ain't over yet. I'm Prospector. I'm for the people. Who's with me? I gotta go crazy, man.
Ever see the crazy guy screaming at the wall outside the Times building?
Where does this rage come from, my son?
Tweet us with hashtag I found Prospector and we'll come and get him. Prospector, mornings on Rock 107.
Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
Remember this guy from last year? 63-year-old Paul Veneto is a former flight attendant. He was supposed to be on one of the planes on 9/11, but his schedule got changed. And now he pays tribute to his friends who lost their lives that day. For the 21st anniversary, this Sunday, he's raising money for charity by spending 3 days pushing an airline beverage cart more than 25 miles from Dulles Airport to the Pentagon. He starts tomorrow and he finishes on 9/11's anniversary.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
Well, everyone, time to call it a day on milk. It had a good run, but this might just be too far. Good morning. I'm Rock 107's Prospector. Apparently, some major companies are making a huge bet that the next big thing in food crazes could be breast milk for adults. Dow DuPont is estimating it could become a $1 billion market. And here's the thought process. Breast milk, human breast milk, contains something called human milk oligosaccharide, or HMO. And it's great for babies because it helps them fight infections and inflammation. It helps development of the brain, and it gets good bacteria to the colon. But at this point, the synthetic versions of HMO that are used in baby formula are almost as good as the real thing. And if we took them as adults, it could help with things like allergies, irritable bowel syndrome, and even keeping our brains young. So companies are apparently going to start making basically fake breast milk targeted at adults. No word on when it could come out, but don't be surprised when it does hit the stores. And of course, any new product needs a catchy brand name, like Mammy's Milk or Knob Nourish. You know, I can't wait to peruse the milk section and see names like Jug Juice, Booby Bliss, Mrs. M's Melon Milk, Chesticle Drink, Straight from the Rack Snack, or Double D's Delight.
What's a yambag? A fool, an idiot, a blockhead, a dunce, or an ignoramus. You know, a dullard, simpleton, or a clot, nitwit, dipstick, pea-brain, mouth breather, or cretin.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Yambag of the Week.
Here are the nominees. Nominee number 1.
A man in Washington State was caught after trying to rob more than a dozen banks by fishing the money out of night deposit boxes. He'd used a rodent glue trap, a fishing hook, and fishing line to try to get the cash out. He was only successful a few times and didn't get away with much money.
Nominee number 2.
A 10-year-old boy accidentally shot off an anti-tank weapon at a fair in Ukraine when 2 Ukrainian soldiers let the boy handle the weapon. Many people at the fair thought they were under attack by the Russians and began to scramble for cover. 15 people were injured.
Nominee number 3.
A woman in Buffalo, New York slashed her ex-boyfriend's tires a few months ago, but then offered to pay for the damage this week. When they met up, she reached into his car and stabbed him. He drove himself to the hospital and got stitched up. She's facing attempted murder charges.
And the winner is...
the girl who was meeting her ex-boyfriend to pay for the tires she slashed, but then she stabbed him. You are the Yambag of the Week. Stay tuned weekday mornings for all the nominees for Prospector's Yambag of the Day right here on Rock 107. Thanks for listening to Prospector's Prime Cuts podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app. A free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.